D, super nice to be speaking with you. You have been in the entrepreneurship game for a while. Your YouTube channel has been around for, I think, like 10 years or something like that, which is amazing because so many people don't have that kind of persistency. I'd love to know, like, what has kept you so motivated to be doing it for such a long time?
So I think there's kind of like two things. I think the first probably is just like I remember coming across like Ty Lopez videos like 2016, and I had graduated college with the Indiana University. I didn't really know what I was gonna do, and like I remember I just like used to get his ads all the time. This was like when there's no really like coaches or anything, and then like all these guys just came across as like it's like scams, like get rich quick stuff. So then one day I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna finally watch a video. And then it like led me to his YouTube channel, which then I was like, actually, this is like good advice if you can just get past all the other stuff and just open your mind for a bit. So then I started getting more into books, then getting more like self-help books, personal development, getting into entrepreneurship, getting more into like social media, started a social media agency, started making money. And then I haven't worked like a 9 to 5 like job since, then. And I just remember like how much that changed in my life and thinking like there's people around the world that need that same information, but are not going to be receptive to him giving it to him. Like
Mm,
I remember like growing up, I lived in, when I grew up in Indiana, I lived with my aunt and uncle, and we lived in like one of the biggest houses like in the city. It was like everybody like knew like the house that we lived in. All of my friends lived in like what we call in Indiana, like the hood, right? Like where we would play basketball, people would pull like guns out and just different things. And I'm like, man, like some of my friends are never like they're never gonna listen to like Ty Lopez.
mm,
They're never gonna listen to these people. And I was like, I think a lot of people are like, yeah, but there's already this information out there. There's already people talking about this. There's already so and so doing it. And I'm like, yeah, but what if Ty Lopez would have said that though? Those
mm.
other people hadn't reached me. So I was like, I feel like I have a knowledge and a bigger purpose that I need to like achieve. You know what I mean? It's not just about dying with all that information in me. And I
Mm.
think also the other thing is just like the personal desire to be like me and what does it feel like to be able to just live life on like your own terms where you have your own business, you're, making money doing what you love and just being fulfilled in like what you're doing with your life.
I love that. We met by communicating in that through the comments of Skool, and it's such a cool way to meet people. And what I noticed about our conversation was like I was just getting like whoever this dude is, he's got a lot of heart, he's got a lot of drive, he's really motivated. And then looking at your YouTube channel and checking into a bit of the stuff that you were doing online for such a long time, I noticed like you have a really strong brand presence around that drive to be an entrepreneur, around like that I'd say like messy action, like getting it done. Maybe you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
talk bit more about that and how important that is for entrepreneurship?
So I think that there's an instance in my life that pretty much changed my way of thinking and got me living this like lifestyle with that mindset. And it was in 2018 when me and my girlfriend, we went on a cruise to the Bahamas. This was like right around the same time I was getting into Ty Lopez and started to make money, do things on my own. And I would remember just like reading books like on the cruise and be like, dang, like we're close to being able to live this like lifestyle where it's like you're doing personal development, you're traveling, you're trying to do these things. I want to be able to do like travel more of that. It was like pretty much like my first time really like outside of the country. So when we came back, I was like, man, we should go on more trips. I remember my friend used to throw this big event in Orlando. And afterwards, he would go to like China or big country, like different countries. And I was like, man, that must be expensive. And he's like, dude, travel is actually not as expensive as people think. They just never actually look into it because they think so. And so in America, it's like a lot of people don't have a passport. They don't really travel. But if you look, like it doesn't have to be that expensive. So I was looking on Groupon, other sites, and I found like this company where you could like basically go to like different places in Europe. And I was like, okay, it's not as like expensive as I thought. So I was like, man, we could actually go to Paris. And like, there's a couple options about like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to take my girlfriend to Paris. And other man, if I'm going to go to Paris, I want to try to like propose like while I'm there. So I was like, man, all the other dreams that I've had in my life, like whatever it got hard, I kind of was like, okay, like let's go on to the next thing. And
Mhm.
I remember telling some of my family members about this idea, and they're like, oh, that's a dumb idea. Like, why do you have to do something so big? You should just go to a restaurant, do something like normal
Mm.
people do. Why do you got to do this? And I was like, man, if I don't change my mindset, I'm going to live the rest of my life like them. And it's just like they give you advice, but they're also will say that they're not happy with their life. So like if I
Mm.
do what they're doing, I'm going to get similar results. So I got to like, I want to commit to this and see what happens. And I remember I got a journal. I gave myself 70 days. I was like, no matter what happens, I'm just going to like not give up and see what happens.
Mm.
And I remember like I almost got like an eviction. I did get an eviction letter. Like the guy that I was supposed to get the ring from, like his mom died and he had to go to like Brazil. And it's like all this stuff was happening and it felt like nothing was like I thought was never going to happen. And
Mm.
like, I think it was like, I don't know, a week or something before we were supposed to go. Like everything came together. We ended up going to Paris. Like I proposed in front of like the Eiffel Tower. And that just like changed my mindset. I'm like, dude, if you just like don't give up and you're just like, I learned like undeterred, like you
Yeah.
can achieve so many things like in your life. So then I was like, oh, now I really have the travel bug, right? Because I went to the Bahamas that year. And then a couple months later, I went to Paris. And then a
Mm.
couple months after that, for our honeymoon, we went to Italy for 2 weeks. So I was like, man, I want to have a business where I can just like travel the world and like do this like for real. And so that's when I started a business in 2020. I was trying to like online coaching business and it just wasn't working out. And I was just like, man, I got to go back into that mindset of just put in the work, like whatever it takes. That was in 2020. And then like, I remember the same thing, like nothing was working. It felt like everything was just falling apart. Eventually things started happening. We ended up making like a 6-figure business, coaching business. I was helping pastors with like their social media basically during the pandemic. And then that allowed us to like travel. And I just really learned like most entrepreneurs are not going to be consistent
Mhm.
and most people are going to give up on along the way. And I think we look at like the people that are like perfect and we're like, okay, I have to be perfect to compete. But I
Yeah.
realized like, if you just put in the work and you keep going, you're ahead of like 99% of people. It's like the 1% of people that are like the quality, everything is perfect. And
Mm.
so I was like, man, most people in the world, and then most entrepreneurs aren't on YouTube. There's
Yeah.
people that are killing it, of course, but like most people aren't even on there. Most people can't post. Most people give up when they don't have views. So if you can just go on there and keep posting, it feels like you're behind if you get 100 views or 1,000 views, but like most people aren't getting any, because they
Yeah.
gave up. And so I think for me, I was like, I just have to like keep putting in the work, keep trying. And then I think eventually something happens, and I think I'm learning now that when you combine that with focus, like that's where it's powerful. Like if you narrow the focus and you just don't give up on that one or two things, like that's where you get like a lot done. So I think just like my experience has shown me like, man, when you have like an undeterred like mindset, like you have the ability and the opportunity to achieve like a lot of things versus just giving up and being too afraid.
Right on. In terms of your community, Undeterred, what was it about the Skool platform that made you decide to build this thing there? And congrats on crossing that 100 member mark also in the free
Thanks, bro.
community.
Oh man, I think like God has just blessed me with like the right time, right place type of thing. I was building my businesses on Circle for the past like since 2021, basically. So 3 or 4 years. And I was testing this new like I was doing social media, I was doing these other things, and I was like, man, I want to do like undeterred, right? I want to just like do something that's not just the typical coaching program, which I'm sure you can talk about here in a minute. So I was building it on Circle and I was testing like, man, I want to help people in different countries. So let's just make it like $27 per month. But that was like so hard to like pay all the fees and everything. So there was a time where I couldn't pay the fee for Circle. So it was like shut. My account was like shut.
Hmm.
And I was talking to this lady here in Budapest, Hungary, and she was like, she helps or not helps, but she makes newsletters for libraries. So
Okay.
different bookstores, different libraries, she makes the newsletter that they send in person.
Hmm.
And I was asking her how she gets clients, and she said, I just go to one event every year. And then I have like one person, one company that sends me like referrals. And I was like, man, Russell Brunson always talks about that. Like, if you can just like instead of trying to create traffic, you just find out where the traffic already is and you tap into that. So this lady
Mhm.
has found one event that she goes to. I think she said it was like $3,000 total. And now that's like all of her business for the whole year. She's like, I don't go on social media, I don't work it. So I was like,
Mhm.
man, there's a power in going where people already are. On Circle, it's better in terms of, I think, a platform features and all that type of stuff, but you're having to get people over there. School, there's like 60,000 people in the schoolers community. And I was like, for me, a lot of them are my niche. And so it makes sense to just be known there. So it's more about like the community. And then as I switched, I was like, I'm going to make a free community and just see what happens. And then I was like, man, I really understand what Sam Ovens is trying to do with simplicity. I think we can get in the beginning distracted by trying to have everything fancy and perfect. And again, what we were talking about, I think it's more like just get it done, getting the about page done, simple
Yeah.
video, simple text, and just invite people. So I got a page up and then I just started doing like what they were talking about. I just simply just messaged people. I didn't send them to a website. I just sent them to the about page. And I think the thing that I really love about Skool is like, if you're intentional, like you can make relationship like us. And I think it's less about, it's weird. It's like we want to make sales, but I think the key is like not making sales. Like you're making relationships, and from the relationships, the sales come from that,
Mhm.
which it feels weird when you're doing it because it's like, oh man, I connected with William. He didn't buy my program. How is this ever going to like turn into money? But it's like, if you do that enough and you're putting out goodwill and putting out good vibes, even if that person doesn't buy, that turns into another opportunity. And so my goal is just like, how can I be of value inside of the schoolers community? Like just helping people, getting on podcasts, answering questions, whatever it has to do, maybe getting on Sam's radar. And I feel like
Mhm.
from that, like opportunities will come. And even if they don't, it's like you lived a life that was like meaningful, purposeful.
I love that, man. Yeah, that's you hit on a couple things there that I think I really resonate with personally. The idea of simplicity, that's one of the things that I really love about the Skool platform is, there's a lot of other types of software out there. I won't name them, but there's a lot that are like just overly complicated. And I don't want to spend half my day tweaking little things. I want to figure out how do I get clients? How do I make a business
Facts.
so that I can live this way, you know? And I think so many people are caught up trying to start new businesses where they're just tweaking all these little details and they don't really they're not building something simple and making it happen, and they're also not building the relationship. So like you said, it's like so much of this is not, at least for me, I'm also finding it's not so much about trying to make sales, it's about how many people can I connect with, because that's where the business will come if you can build enough relationships, as you said.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's I mean, that's a topic all in itself. But I think that's the beauty of Skool. Like I'm like, I saw this video of Sam from like 3 years ago. If anyone wants to watch it, it's just like, I think if you type in going all in on Skool, like Sam Ovens, it'll pop up. It's like him with like a casino chips. Have you seen this video?
Love it. I've seen a lot of them. I can't remember this one specifically.
So he's basically just talking about, it's like a slideshow. And he's just like, this is what I've been doing. I'm selling consulting.com. I'm
Mm,
going all in on Skool. And he showed this video, this graphic or this image that I think comes from the book Essentialism, where it's like a circle and then a bunch of arrows coming out of it. And then one
yeah,
circle with a one arrow straight up.
yeah.
And he's like, I was doing a podcast, I was doing Instagram, I was doing a mastermind, I was doing consulting.com. And he's like, when you're doing so many different things, you make a little bit of progress in a bunch of things. But when
Mhm,
you do one thing, he's like, you can make a bunch of progress. And I think like with Skool, I'm realizing that where it's like in the beginning, I think a lot of us are trying to do so much stuff. And it's like, for example, a lot of business owners I know, they spend so much time every day on Canva. I'm like, why are you spending
mhm,
time making all these graphics? That's not going to
yeah,
really move the needle. But I'm realizing like just in school, it's like, man, if you spend 1, 2 hours a day or whatever time you have making connections, like that goes so far. Like you get on podcasts, you get feedback, you can get, free members, you can get paid members. Like I think we forget that like we're so used to like saying views and followers, but
yeah,
that forgetting that it's like, bro, these are people. So if you
yeah,
just go directly to connecting with people, like I think something good comes from that. But it's like I think it's just because we're all looking for like what's the latest hack and what's the latest,
yeah.
secret. And it's like, bro, if you just like, what are you trying to do? And just go connect with people. And like I think that's what Skool is really I think before it came across as like bro marketing, but I feel like now they're doing a good job of like, hey, this is about like actually building a solid community of and like helping people with whatever you're interested in.
Mhm. Yeah, I think one of the things that I loved so much about Skool when I first joined it was that I was finding connecting with people was much easier, and not just like people who were trying to get started, but there were a lot of like really high level people who had accomplished a lot of things who were willing to like hop on calls, connect with me. So there's a massive amount of learning that I was experiencing on the platform. I want to talk about your community Undeterred a little bit and like let me know like what is it that you're doing with this community? What are the some of the unique things that you're, you know, working with within inside this community?
So I guess like I might use the Uno reverse card a bit on this question
Love it.
and ask you something. But basically, like I'm in this, I think maybe like a transition phase. And I did a post in Schoolers, and I've been spending time today, and we'll be spending time like getting on calls with people, getting feedback, DMing them. But the idea that I had originally was like, man, I want to help other entrepreneurs like be undeterred, because I feel like a lot of people that I know, like have challenges, they have setbacks, they give up. And so it's not just mindset, but it's like some of it is mindset, but some of it is like the practical tactics. So like I have a YouTube channel that has 7,000 followers. So it's not just like, hey, I'm clapping my hands, like you can do it. Like don't give up on your channel, but hey, if you have questions, helping you. And I had to do sales calls, all these different types of things.
Mhm.
And so what I had been saying is like, hey, my name is D. I've done X, Y, Z. If you're facing similar challenges and setbacks with the different things, anything I can help you with, I want to help you out. Free community where like we help each other. And then I have a paid community where like you have weekly calls with me. Well, what I was thinking about was like kind of like what we're talking about with the community and people. And so I had been asking people like, which one would you be more interested in? Like a paid community where you get access to like weekly calls with me and you get my help with your business, or a community where each person has is specialized in maybe a different topic or industry, and we're helping each other. So it's more about community. So we have calls. These people are serious. They're invested in themselves.
Mhm.
And maybe there's someone in there that is specialized in ads, someone that's specialized in copy, somebody that's specialized in podcasting. And we're helping each other. So it's not just like the D Green show. It's like the Undeterred community. And I see it being more like a family where it's like we're actually helping each other. I think like whenever I have invested in coaching programs, you're not really going to build too much of a relationship with the person running it, because I have so many people in there and they're
Mhm.
kind of doing their own thing. And then the other members are doing their own thing as well. And so what I found is you have help, you have a course, you have those coaching calls, but if you have challenges and setbacks along the way, it's kind of like you're kind of like on your own. It's like, okay, how do I manage this? Okay, yeah, I have a blueprint on how to grow my school business, but what happens when like my credit card is low, or like my mental health, or like my family, my wife, like, or like now I gotta like be comfortable on camera. Okay, you told me to go podcast, but like, how do I get guests? Like all these things. And I envision this being a community where it's like we're actually helping each other, like not give up on our businesses. And it's like whatever you need help with, there's probably someone in here that knows that. And if they don't, like we'll figure that out together.
Mhm.
So I guess like that, maybe you could also get feedback on that of like those two comparisons. I guess one where it's like this kind of like the D Green show I'm helping, and one where it's like
Yeah.
more like a community mindset.
I think it's not a question of either or. I think it's an and, you know, so it's like
Okay.
people will join communities for the person who's running it. I think oftentimes I think that's still true, right? Like you want to know that there's value that you're going to get like specific value that you're going to get from that person. They have some type of skill, they have some type of unique thing that they're going to bring you in with. But then I think what holds people is building that network of relationships. So for me, like the strongest communities that I've been in, they have that leader who's like able to really speak onto one specific thing and keep you on track there. But then they also are really good at building the relationships within the community. So they facilitate connecting people together and like, oh, rather than me answering that question, this person in the community is really good at this. Why don't
Yeah.
you,
Okay.
you know, you guys get together? And so, yeah, it's just like being really strong, like being a community leader, I think, rather than being a guru is really what it's about.
Okay. I like that. I like that. Cause I think like that, I guess that's the difference between which one of the, why you would join that. So maybe, hey, I'm joining, like Russell Brunson has a mastermind, but there's so many different masterminds. So it's like, I'm
Yeah.
joining because of the person that's leading it. But once I'm
Yeah.
in there, it's the connections of the other people that maybe keep me in there.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the way to go, especially with the way that Skool works. And another thing that I find really interesting about Skool is how all of these communities, because they're in one ecosystem, they're all kind of interconnected, you know? So it's like if some of my like a lot of my members in my video editing community came from Jenna's mastermind. So there's a lot of overlap between our two communities. And I think that if you can find communities that you really resonate with and then build up relationships and networks with other communities, it kind of gives you this solid foundation because the members are keeping up their relationships in other communities and not just yours, you know?
Okay. Yeah. 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 I think that's one thing. I guess this is maybe important to mention for people that maybe that aren't on Skool, which is I really love how simple it is to see what other people are doing. Like on all other platforms, kind of even like Instagram, right? Like you might see their profile, but then you gotta like click the link in their bio. It takes you to another site. You gotta look at their website. Then you gotta click on
Yeah.
something else to go to it. But Skool, it's like you literally go to their profile and it says like owned by, and you can just go to their community and see what they're doing in like 2 clicks. And like
Yeah.
everything is in there. And they could even join from the same platform. You don't even have to leave it. It's like 2 or 3 buttons, 2 or 3 clicks. So I never really thought about that, but I think that's powerful because like if I have a community of people that are sharing knowledge, let's say someone comes in there and they're talking about video editing, it's easy to go and see like what community they own. And then
Yeah.
if you're interested in more of that specific field, like get their help. And it's easy to just have all these, like you said, communities that are overlapping and it's fine.
Yeah, for sure. And then if we're like, if you send somebody to me and I'm on a call with them and they're like, oh, I was just talking with Dee today about this, can we bring that into the video? Then it's like all of a sudden there's these overlaps that are happening even when you're not present, you know? So it keeps you
True,
top of
true.
mind.
Yeah, it's true, man. I really like, I want to be a good example too of like what can happen when you focus on the people. Cause I feel like that's just such a scary feeling
Mm,
because like you're doing it and you don't really see a lot of results sometimes for a while. It's like, yeah,
yeah,
cool. I got on a call. Yeah, I got on a podcast. But like after I get off here, it's not like money. It just like goes right into my bank account. You know what I mean? So I
yeah,
think it's like you have to keep depositing and depositing and depositing and like hoping that one day it pays off. And I think we don't have enough people that are talking about like it's a lot of just like sell to people, sell to strangers, say this, say that, versus like build authentic relationships, do good, and from the good, maybe you will achieve all this other stuff. But it's not so much about doing it to achieve that stuff. It's more like doing it because that's the right thing to do. And it if and this typically happens because of that. And I think if we have more entrepreneurs that it's like, man, act genuinely care about the people you're trying to help. Yeah, of course, like run your business and make money. But if we're focused on people, I feel like that's just the way to go. And I feel like that is something Skool can get behind. And I think something Sam Ovens would appreciate too. And I just think it'll make the Skool community and the world in general like a better place if we have more people that are genuinely caring about people and seeing like, okay, this is actually working. If it's something that you can't really fake. And with I think a lot of the human interaction is like going away. So
yeah.
I think the people that can be genuine and authentic is like you can win. And I think just also when you're helping people, that's always been like a passion of mine. It's just like, man, how can we genuinely care about people and also not be broke? You know, it's like how can you do it in a way that is like you're helping them, but also like you're able to live a fulfilling life as well.
I love it, man. I think that's a great place to end. So I appreciate your time today, Dee. Wishing you all the luck and success with your amazing community and looking forward to keeping in touch on the platform.
Thanks, bro.